Alright, well for today we have a rather destroyed, I wouldn't say destroyed, but derelict K7400. It's actually a 27-inch K7400. If we look on the label here, you can see Wells Gardner monitors 2774, which is 27-inch K7400. And somebody has done some work to this thing. They've done a cap kit, looks like, trying to get it working, but ultimately probably had issues because the B+ pot has had all the glue taken off of it. The flyback has been pulled off and probably robbed for something else. And otherwise it does appear to be complete. They've done a complete cap kit on it. And I'm assuming that whatever they did to try and get it working, they were unsuccessful at. So they robbed the flyback and used it for another chassis. But for the most part, it is complete. It's not missing the HOT or anything in the power supply. And like I say, the full cap kit has been done. There are issues that I noticed when looking at it, like right there, things like this. So it's not without its flaws, and someone's done some type of craziness here. They didn't take this side of the heatsink loose, and I don't know what's up with that. But, you know, little things like that. The main thing here is that we're going to have our work cut out for us trying to get this fixed. Mostly because look at this neck board here. That it's just been demolished. There's only one lead hanging on with that pot. This one, actually, that one's actually still intact. That's not broken. This one's busted. That one's busted. We got 5 pots, only one of them's intact, so I'll have to change all those out. That's fine, I've got those. But yeah, it's in pretty dire shape, so. But it is complete minus the flyback, so that's why I thought, well, let's go ahead and see what we can do with this. So this is one of the many chassis I have sitting over here off camera. I've shown in a couple of videos here previously to this one. I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 chassis I picked up in a lot from a friend down in Houston when I was at the Houston Arcade Expo earlier this year, or just a few months ago actually, last month actually, yeah, November. And he gave me a box full of these 12 chassis, and I said, sure, I'll take them. So yeah, it's time to get cracking on these and see what we can figure out. So I grabbed this one at random because there's another one over here missing the flyback also, but it's in much worse shape. So I thought, well, let's try and tackle this one first because it does appear to be complete except for the missing flyback. So first things first, let's just give it another good look over here before because we don't need the flyback installed to test the power supply. So let's just make sure that everything appears to be intact. R104 is not loose, but it does have all the silkscreen gone off it, so it has been running for a while, or has some hours on it. We're gonna have to make sure that it reads between 10, it should be 10K ohm, but they'll read anywhere between 10 to 13K ohm and still function okay. So yeah, no missing MOSFET. Everything appears to be there. It's a bit dirty, but otherwise not too bad. Okay, well yeah, it looks okay on the top side. Let's look at the back side here. Anything we need to be concerned about? Oh, there's I think that's a diode. Yep, nope, that is a ferrite bead. The ferrite bead leg is popped up. We'll fix that. I always say you want to do a visual inspection first prior to doing any other stuff. And yeah, it looks okay, except we have the MOSFET pads are lifted also. I don't know if you can see this. It's somewhat common for that to happen, just from roughhousing or handling, I should say. So the MOSFET pads are lifted also, but as long as they're making contact, it should be a non-issue. Let's hit this ferrite bead pad, bring it down a bit. Okay, that's better. And then we'll check it for continuity. Okay. And yeah, that's fine. Now these MOSFET pads, I'll go ahead and flatten them back down. Okay. Let's make sure those have continuity. Yep, okay. So those aren't broken. Yeah, I mean, that all looks okay. The AC power input needs reflowed, like every one of these you'll ever see or work on or find or come across. Every one of them has bad joints on that. Okay, that's all we should really need for the power supply section. So we're gonna have to, I guess if there's no flyback installed, it won't be that bad, but we're gonna have to remove the collector of the HOT. Because I don't want even though the flyback is missing, I don't want the high voltage side to energize while we're doing the testing. So you can either remove the HOT completely, or what I do is just remove or desolder the collector. Let's make sure. So here's the pad. Oh, wrong way. So here's the pad. We'll go to the next pad on the trace. Okay, now let's touch the leg. Okay, pad, leg, and we're gonna do a little bit more here. That's better. Okay. Now we should be free and clear. Yeah, okay. So here's the pad. There's the leg, nice and free. Okay. So now we can fire this up without fear of any type of, we're not gonna have high voltage, I should say, because there's no flyback, but without fear of the horizontal section firing up needlessly. We don't want it to do that while we don't have a load on it. So, okay. Let's remove these harnesses, get those out of the way. And I think before we try this, let's spray some, let's make sure the B+ pot actually is moving. Yeah, okay, we'll spray some contact cleaner in there. Wipe it back and forth a bunch of times. And I'm not sure where it needs to be set, but it's not going to be a big deal because we'll do our light bulb test and get it somewhat close. Now my original incandescent 60-watt light bulb has gone bad. So all I have is an LED replacement. It's also a 60-watt, but it's LED. So I think somewhere around 130 volts ends up about 117. So we'll put, if it does work, we'll set the B+ pot to read about 130 volts using the LED light. And that should be somewhat close to the 117, hopefully. I'm not sure, but we'll find out anyway. So that's one thing I wanted to do now. Let's go to ohms and see what R104 reads. Again, it should be between 10K to 13K to operate normally. And we get 9.61. Great, okay. I was suspecting it to not read good because of all the silkscreen being gone, so it has ran hot for a while. Let's check the MOSFET, this guy right here, and make sure it's not shorted. I don't think it is, or R104 would read odd. But if we go to diode mode and we can read, I believe it's positive lead on this one, and I think it's going to be 1.0 on one leg and 0.5 on the other. So we should get a 0.5 voltage drop and then a 1.0 on the other. I'm not reading it properly. I can't recall how to read this actually. So okay, so there's our 1.0. So negative on the top, and then to the left one here from this perspective, there's the 1.0. Then we should have 0.5 to the other one. There you go, perfect. Okay, it's just been a while since I've done that. So okay, that MOSFET checks okay. All right, well, let's grab a power. Let's grab a power. Let's grab the power. And we'll plug this in. Oh, actually, I like to, if you look down in here, See how these sockets are somewhat splayed out like that? They're like splayed out. I like to, for a better connection, because sometimes you'll have I've had numerous times and questions asked where, hey, I got this 7400, 7500, 2000, 5000, whatever that has these connections, and the chassis is intermittent. Sometimes the monitor will fire up, sometimes it won't. And if they wiggle the connector, boop, it fires right up. Now, it's not the solder joints, it's because these sockets are spread open, because people shove, like, you should never, if you ever have a socket like this, you should never shove anything like a meter lead in there, because that will open up the socket. You never want to do that. You want to use the right sockets or pins or something to do that. But I like to put my little clips in, or needle nose, if you will, down in here and squeeze these back together. I use the thick ones because the thin ones just bend. That's better. The tweezers with the thin ends just bend as opposed to squeezing it shut. Oh, that's much better. Okay. So, yeah, that gives you a nice, better, solid, secure connection on these things. So I'd recommend doing that as I drop the iFixit pack. Okay. Now, there we go. Nice, firm click in there. And everything appears to be okay, so let's grab the light bulb here. And since the HOT is out, you know, we're just going to, well, you know what? I'll tell you what, we'll clip on the right spot. So you can clip on the leg of the HOT since it's out of the circuit. But, well, yeah, I'm not sure. I mean, oh, I'm sorry, not the HOT. Oh, I'm an idiot. You clip on the pad, the trace. So we can find anything on that trace, which in this case, you can either do that or simply go to this leg of R100. So normally if you're doing the light bulb test, you would want to remove or lift this leg of L100 here, this inductor. You would lift that leg right there of L100 and clip onto that, and that would isolate the output from the power supply to the rest of the chassis. And you wouldn't need to take the HOT out or do anything like that. That's just, let me go back. That's an option if you didn't want to go that route. I just went ahead and did that for showcase purposes, so you can do that, or you can pull the L100 out. I already have a video on the light bulb test for this, which I'll link down below if I can remember to do that. Since I'm going to leave L100 in the circuit, I went ahead and removed that collector of the HOT. So if we clip onto there, and we clip onto the frame, which should be ground. Actually, you know what? We can go into here. Yep, that's ground. All right, so with all that done, we need to grab the meter, get a ground lead, clip onto that, which we could do like that, and clip that. Actually, we can leave it like that. Okay, and then positive, we need to clip onto, can I do this without needing another? Yeah, seems so. Okay, now we're hoping for somewhere around 130, if it even works. And we'll have to adjust B plus as needed. So, all right, here we go. 1, 2, 3. It works. 119.7. Yeah, I'm not sure where we want to go with this. Lower is obviously better than high, but I think what we'll do is let me look at another one here where it's set. And yeah, I can't tell on that one. See, I have another one here that's also missing the flyback. This one's missing the sticker, so I don't know if it's 27 or 25, but this one is set right. Oh, it's right. Look at this. Remember when I said 130? Oh, this came off. Oh, there we go. So, 130. Look where this is set to. Oh, right about, let's say 1 o'clock. Look where this one is. Right about 1 o'clock. So, close enough. Yeah, like I say, that's what I was thinking about 130. That one still has the glue on it, so. Okay, our power supply is functional. We are set somewhat close to what our 117 should be. So now we're going to have to figure out how to, or how we want to proceed with this. So do we just stick a flyback on it, resolder the HOT in, and turn it on, see what it does? I'm half tempted to, easy for me to say, I'm half tempted to just do that. But we're going to have to fix up that neck board first. I probably am not going to show the replacement of the pots. It's, you know, pretty self-explanatory, but it does look like somebody has done some rework on this neck board. They put the RGB decoder in its socket, so we'll have to take the back off of here and look at that. But let's not get distracted. Let's do one thing at a time here. Squirrel. Let's put this away. Okay, and let's put this away. Always important to try and stay organized. Okay. Well, okay, so with it, we have a functional power supply. Everything seems to be okay with that. We don't have anything else that's missing, it looks like. You know, as far as the things that can cause this to be not working, the main issue, of course, would be the HOT or a bad flyback. But Q703 here, if Q703 is open or shorted, that will kill everything and it will not even power up. So let's go ahead and just test Q703 here. And we're just checking to make sure that it's not shorted and it has the voltage drop to each leg. So we'll go back to here. And Q703 again is this guy here with the heat sink on it. And I can't recall how to test this one, but we're looking for a 0.5 voltage drop to each leg from, I think it's the left side with the positive lead. No, right side positive lead. Okay, 0.6 and 0.6. There we go. I'm sorry. So it's 0.6. So 0.6 to this one and 0.6 to that one. That's how you check that Q703, and that's a good Q703. So it's quite possible that this may actually just work. I'm not holding my breath. There's a reason someone stole the flyback, but or maybe it caught fire and they never got another one. Who knows? But let's fix this real quick, or try to. It's a large heat sink with a large ground plane, so we'll leave some heat on it there for a moment. I don't know what's going on with this. It may not be worth our time to try and seal this up. Yeah, I don't know what's going on with this. It just looks terrible. Well, that's better. Okay. We'll live with that. Okie dokie, Smokey. All right, well, I think I did want to fix this. Oh, R811's been changed out. That bad joint there that I pointed out earlier, that's on R811, so obviously they're having color issues. And someone didn't know what they were doing because this is lifted way up in the air here. Okay, that's better. Do we have continuity? Yes, we do. Does it read? And the other side's lifted up too. Jeez, come on, people. We have continuity on this side. Yeah. Do we read 75K? Some revisions are 50, some revisions are 100, but a 75K is a nice ballpark here. We get and we're reading in circuits, so we're reading through other components. But 91K, yeah, that's good. Like I say, some of them are between. Well, I say 75 because there's some revisions of these that have a 50K ohm, some have a 100K ohm. So I just split the difference at 75. But if we're at 90K, then that's fine. So, all right. Well, let's not forget to solder in the HOT. So that'll probably come back and bite us. It's not turning on. Well, there we go. Well, let's give it another quick look over. And I think what we'll do, since our power supply is working, I realize now as I'm narrating that I didn't actually check the HOT to see if it was shorted. But Q703 checks out okay. We got more lifted pad craziness up here, but it's connected, so I'll fix that later. I guess let's check the HOT. If it's fine, then we'll rebuild the neck board and try it out. Well, rebuild the neck board, install a flyback, and try it out. So, okay, diode mode, negative lead on the middle pin and 0.46 or so to each outer leg. 0.447, 0.448. HOT is fine. So yeah, we can put a flyback in it, rebuild the neck board, and then see what it does. It may fire right up. If it does, great for me, but not so much for you guys, because it's always more interesting to try and troubleshoot and fix things and learn stuff, but sometimes that's how it is. Okay, yeah, I mean, I'm not sure if we want to, it won't take but 5 minutes to change these pots out, but, oh man, like every one of these, this may be worth our time to just show how to repair this neck board, but look at this. That one's not so bad, but it's all bent over. So yeah, we're gonna have to do that. So one of the important things with these is that you don't want these resistors kind of hanging out next to each other, because they get really hot, and if they are touching each other, they'll induce heat into the next one, so they'll run even hotter. If they're touching each other, they'll run even hotter than they normally would run if they were spread out apart like this. So you always want to make sure these are actually spread apart from each other and not sitting there next to each other. But let's look at this. Yeah, that seems all okay there. Everything else look okay. Yeah, so I think what we'll do is we'll change the pots out, fix all of this, and then put a flyback in and try it. But first things first, let's just pull, I'm gonna turn my fan on here. Let's pull these pots out of here. She gone. Now that one's working, or that one's good, okay. She gone. Ugh. All right, those are out. Well, that one's out anyway. Okay, so that is a 200. Both of these are a 200. I've got those. All right, so those are out. The bias pots are 1K. I'm not sure I have any 1Ks, but we'll have to make do with what we got. Let's clean all of this up here. Okay. Alright, so there is that. Let's make sure those holes are all cleared out. Yeah, they are. You can see through all of them. Okay, so let's toss all of this. Boop. And I gotta plug my camera in or the battery is gonna die. I say battery, I don't say the E, it's just battery, like some people say veteran. It's veteran with an E, V-E-T-E, or veteran. It's not veteran. Just one of the many things that irks me when I hear people say veteran. If you say veteran, you can say veteran. But speaking as a veteran, it's not veteran. You don't say battery, you say battery. Anyway. Man, that is stubborn in there. Well, we'll just have to do it this way then. I just wonder if someone tried to glue these in or something, because that wasn't coming out of there. There we go. Okay. That one she out. And I'm really surprised the pads for these resistors aren't busted either, but I just do it the right way. I always do it the easy way, and sometimes it's not the easy way. Sometimes the proper way is the easy way. Like so. Alright, so now what we need to do, that pad is gone, so I'm glad I checked that out. Alright, what we need to do is clean all this up, and we can do so with our fiberglass pen. A real fiberglass pen with real fiberglass and not those crappy white bristle cheap ones you find on Amazon. Well, this is on Amazon too, but this is an actual sanding pen with actual fiberglass in it. And those ones you find on eBay that have the red handle, and those are like a soft bristle. They're not actual fiberglass. At least in my experience, the ones that I got were not actual fiberglass. So we're going to try and reuse that lifted pad, or broken trace I should say. But what we'll do here is we'll just go through here and scrape all this off. And there you go, that looks pretty good. We'll have to save that other one. We're going to have to expose this trace also so we can solder to it. And some people use like a grinding pin to do this, but I don't like using the grinding pin because it actually damages the trace. It cuts the trace and gouges the trace, and I don't like the grinding pins because they damage the trace. This removes the solder mask, and that's all you need. So yeah, there we go. So now you're asking yourself, well, how do we fix the traces? Well, they're in pretty good shape. If you look, they're not out of whack or bent up or mangled. They're just lifted off of the board. So how do you fix that? Well, we are going to reinstall the transistors and the heat sinks, and then we're going to simply add a little bit of super glue to the trace. You know, you really don't want to put the super glue underneath the pad, because then when you try to put your transistor back in, it won't fit through the hole, and you'll tear up the hole, and you won't be able to solder to it because the super glue will be over the pad. It's just, in my experience, it's not a good idea to put super glue directly underneath the pad. So you solder the pad down with your lead from your transistor, and then put super glue underneath the trace up to the pad, if that makes sense. Like you'd put it right here and not under the pad. So I'll show you here as we do this. So first things first, since these two are out already, let's go ahead and check them, make sure that they're not bad. If I can recall how to do this here, I believe it's just like the MOSFET. Okay, 0.6 and 0.6, yeah. It's not, I'm sorry, Q703, not the MOSFET, Q703. So we want 0.6, oh, other way. Wait a minute. What in the world? There we go. I can't remember from 1 minute to the next. 0.6 and 0.6. 0.6 and 0.6, so that's fine. Okay. Man, I tell you, I can't remember from 1 minute to the next what I did or what I'm doing. Okay, those are good. I just get the remaining solder off these legs to make it easier to fit through there when it's time to try and put this back in. Something else I like to do when I'm doing this particular exact work here is I will put these as far flat against the board as I can, because that will prevent them from wobbling. So you see how this one wobbles around like this and it's not flat, there's still a bit of a gap. I like to put these as far down as I can, because that will prevent it from moving. Like when it's sitting up this high, you can flatten it this way or move it. They move too far and too much. So I like to put these as far down as I can. You don't want to just slam this through, because you'll lift these pads and traces even worse. Okay, so that's through, and we want to try and position this to where the heat sink is not touching the passive components. We want this to sit as far down as it can. That is perfect right there. All right, so stay right there. All right, so that is relatively straight. It's pretty flat against the board, as flat as it's going to go, and it's not touching the inductors, it's not touching the resistors. That's what you want. You don't want to induce heat onto those passive components as little as possible. So with that being done, now we can zoom in a bit here and solder it back in place. And if you really know what you're doing, you apply the solder here, and while you do that, you hold it down with something so the trace sits flat. There we go. Now we'll do the same thing with this one, and hold it flat as we do this. And I don't like that. That's better. Okay. Oh well, you know, I turned it around and went to the wrong one because I'm a numbskull. Like I said, I can't recall what I'm doing from 1 minute to the next, and I gotta switch hands here, which may not be the most humorous part of this whole thing, but no, I'm not left-handed, so I can't do that. Let's flip it back around this way. Okay. And let's try this again here. Stay down, you. There we go. Nice. All right. And last but not least, we'll get this one. This one's going to be easy to hold down. Just like so. And if you do this right, you really don't need to glue the trace back down. So all the traces are now flat. Well, where they're connected, they're flat. You know, it's still lifted up. But where it's soldered in, it's flat. That's really what's important. And those joints don't look that good, but it'll work for what we need to do. And we have a, see that? Look at this one. That one's not too bad, but this one, see how secure this is now? Give or take. It's almost completely flat against the board. It's not touching the other passive components. It looks like it is, but not quite. Yeah, so that's what you want. Something like that. It's as far down as you can get it, as straight up as you can get it, and not touching the other components. And the pads are flat against the board. And when you do it like that, you really don't need to use any super glue or something, because there's no need. So I'm probably just going to skip that. But if you want to use some super glue, like I mentioned before, about up to the pad and under the trace, you can. But I really don't think we're going to need to do that at all. So I'm not going to do that. We're just going to leave it like that. So let's verify some connections here from here to here, here to here, good, here to here, here to here, okay. All right, number 2 here. Okay, make sure it, sometimes you got to bend these out a bit. We want this to sit flat, like, that's about as flat as it's going to get, roughly there. And it needs to come back more because it's touching the inductor and the resistor. Okay, I think we'll go right there with it. And you want to be cognizant of these transistors also, these little transistors here. Bend them back slightly so you don't get heat on those either. So stay there, you. We'll get you in line, don't worry. Stay right there. Let's get a little bit of solder on you. All right, stay there. That's good. All right, so we'll do this again. Push down on this so it's flat on this side. And we got to flip it around to make it flat on the other side. There we go. The pad itself is flat. That's all we're worried about. Okay, now let's do this one officially. Okay, that's good. Are we still straight? Yeah, I like that a lot. Okay. I like that a lot. That looks pretty good. And, oh yeah, that is solid. You don't want to do it too much, you'll snap it off again, but that is pretty solid. That's pretty solid. And that one's not. So, okay. Let's see if we can reattach this. We're going to have to solder it and then scratch it. You gotta flip it back around again. Flip it back around again with a pocket full of shells. They're coming back around again. This is for the people of the sun. I never was a Rage Against the Machine fan because every one of their songs pretty much sound exactly the same to me. And you can go ahead and raise your pitchforks and turn the video off and unsubscribe, whatever you want. I am not a Rage Against the Machine fan. Take that as you like. Let's get a little on here first. And let's hold that. Let's hold it down with this. Okay, now I should be able to get rid of that remaining that's on the piece. Yep, okay. And we're going to have to make a big bridge here. Well, easier said than done, because it's moving all around on me. And I can hear you screaming, just use a piece of component leg or something. Well, yeah, you could do that. But I do things the hard way. Ah, there we go. Gorgeous. I wouldn't say gorgeous, but that's better. Okay, we are 2 for 3. It's nice and solid, wobbly. So with this one though, you can see it sitting just as flush as the rest, so we should be able to simply I want to desolder the existing solder and flow fresh solder on here, because these things get so hot the solder will oxidize, and I want to look and make sure the pad isn't oxidized. Nah, that's not too bad. And I want to, let's go ahead and just do all of them, because I need to, actually, we'll just do them one at a time, it's alright. So this one's not lifted. That one's good actually. It's only the other two. So now with that one done, I can do both these at the same time. So now we can resolder that in there. That looks pretty good. And then hold it down. Got it. Hold that one down. Got it. Okay, and there you have it. Secure, secure, secure. Okay, we're a little crooked, but I don't want to mess with it because that'll just break the pads again. So we are good to go on that. Okay, let's replace these pots. Clean them all up, and actually those are all going to be new, so let's go ahead and just use some contact cleaner on here again and wipe this back and forth. And we'll set it right smack dab in the middle. And okay, not sure how those got bent. It's fine. All right, I have some potentiometers here. We're looking for some 200s. Those are 2K. Somewhere out there. Here they are. Do I have any parts, neck boards, that I can steal some bias pots off of? Here are my drive pots. Like, I need 2 of those. But do I have any bias pots here? I don't know what rating. That's a MacVision. Yeah, I've got a board here, but this is complete. I don't want to steal anything off of that. Here's a sharp image. What does this one read? Turn it all the way one way and the other. We're getting nothing because I'm not in ohms. 2K. Yeah, I need 1K. 1K sounds wrong. They are. Well, yeah, they are. They're 1K. See 1K? I mean, I guess I could steal a couple off of this one, but this one's complete other than the... It's in really good shape also. I'd hate to steal parts from it. Well, this resistor's gone. The transistors are gone. Do I have any more? No, this one's complete. Oh, that's one. No, I got another complete one. Huh. I don't want to do that unless I have to. So we got... That one may be a candidate there. This one's already been picked clean. Here's one. I can get this one off of this one. And that one's already desoldered. All right, now all we need is one. Hey, what do you know? So we'll set that aside. Any more in here? Well, yes, but I mean, and you could use a 2K in there. Just turn it. You know, it'll way overdrive it if you go above the 1K. But these are so sensitive as it is. I wouldn't even dream of that. So I guess this is the next best candidate. So we'll just steal one from this one, I guess, because I can always order some more in the future if I need to. Okay, that's the Ben Heck method of how to remove that stuff. So, okay, we have all of our pots. All right, so let's throw this back in the old parts closet here. Yes, that's a basket. Oh, I got parts falling everywhere. It's a madhouse, or so they say. Now, anthrax. No problem with anthrax. All right, so we need. Let's. I should have waited because I need to clean these now, but it's all right. It's a madhouse. All right. Let's solder those puppies in. Okay, and we'll grab a couple of drive pots here. And then put that back. Or try to anyway. There's so much crap in that bin it won't close. All right, now let's solder those in. So now that I think about this, with R811 being replaced and this RGB decoder chip being replaced, I'm pretty sure that this thing had color problems. And I'm wondering if they couldn't get those color problems solved, if it was the tube or something, and they just kind of gave up on it. But that's the evidence I'm being led down, is because this is changed out and the R811's changed out and all that jazz. So, okay, now let's go ahead and these are brand new, so we don't need to clean those, but we'll set them to the center position. And yeah, I'm not even sure we're gonna have any. Like, there's no way to clean these. The carbon trace or carbon pad on these is exposed. You can just spray some contact cleaner and it gets in there and wipe back and forth. But these two, the carbon pad is not exposed. I have no way to get the cleaner inside of it, so we're just going to wipe them back and forth a bunch of times and set them to the center position. Actually, I take that back. We're going to go about a quarter position. The bias pots on these series of chassis don't like to be turned up more than about a quarter of the turn. Anything more than about a quarter turn, it overdrives everything. So we'll set these to about a quarter turn. So all the way down, all the way down, all the way down, and we'll go up about a quarter, right there, and right there. That's where we'll start. Okay, the drive pots can be halfway. That's my recommendation on those. Any higher than a quarter and the colors bleed and it just overdrives it. So neck board, I think, is successfully done. We'll clean it up later because I got to cap it still. So yeah, I think that is good. Okay, let's grab a flyback, install it in this puppy, put it all back together and see what we get. Now, it is missing the plastic protector, but I have plenty of those. So before I forget, I'm gonna grab one and put it on here. And these are always so hard to get on and off. I just take this little nub here and cut that little nub off, and then that goes on and off of there much easier. Okay, now for the flyback, I have the one from the latest batch back in January, and I actually have, now that I think about it, do I have some from a, yeah, see, I've got some from originals, like this one here. This is one from, directly from Suzo Hap. I've got some of these on hand that are, there's no date on this. Yeah, 2008. No, is that right, Ben? I don't know what the hell this means. September 1st of 03 or 08, who knows. But I've got some from Suzo Hap from years ago from their old supply. I mean, actually, no, this is a used one. What the heck? Huh. This is a used one? Sure appears to be. Yeah, it's got the sticker on it. Well, what in the world? Maybe I threw this. Well, I got all this stuff from a operator who was closing out all of his stock, getting rid of all of his CRT stuff because they were going to LCD on everything. I thought that was a new one. flash on contrast. That's okay. I got off on a tangent there. Okay, that's a Neotech one. Put that back. Let's just use this one here from the latest batch back in January of this year. So, okay. And I always snap these snaps off because it makes it easier to install. They're not necessary whatsoever. They're like a placebo effect. They don't actually help at all and keep it secure. It's just a placebo effect. So, okay, we're gonna have to see how this lines up here. Okay, right in. Easy peasy. Okay. And of course, some numbskull didn't desolder this properly, and they lifted a bunch of pads on here, but that's not a problem. We're just we can fix all that later, or we're just interested in testing this right now. You don't need a crap ton of solder on these, just as long as you get a nice shiny dome. That's all you need. You don't need to put a crap ton of solder in here like I see some people do. Just enough to fill the hole, make sure it's a nice shiny dome, make sure the connection is good, and that's all you need. You don't need to just fill it and fill it and fill it, because then when it comes time to take this back off, if you ever have to, you're going to not be enjoying life. I'll just say that. Okay. There we go. One last ground. There it is. Make sure you don't forget to clip these off, because you don't want to ground right to the frame. I mean, if ground's a ground, but better safe than sorry. Okay, that all looks fine. All right, let's plug our remote board back in. Let's make sure none of those joints are cracked on. Oh, there's one that looks pretty suspect. Sometimes plugging this connector in and out can cause these joints to crack, and you definitely don't want to run this with a remote board connection issue. Okay, that seems fine. There was just that one. Same thing with the neck board. These ones here, and those all look fine. Those are all part of my normal reflow anyway, so. All right, and neck board is complete. It's the correct one. Horizontal hold on the 7400 and the 7500 is right there. And for some reason it's all the way down. Let's put it right about there. Okay, neck board. Now let's first, so you have two wires here. There's a thick wire and a thin wire. Don't pay attention to colors. The colors mean nothing. The thick wire is the one that always goes to the neck socket. Is that long enough? Yeah, seems long enough. Okay. Barely. Okay, wrap that through. And the thin wire always goes to the G2 connection. Now, we don't have a connector, so what I do is I don't bother splicing in the old connector. What I do is I'll just remove this pin completely and just solder the wire through the hole. There, you don't need the pin. It's just for an ease of quick disconnect. If you want to cut the pin off the old Flyback, which I don't even have it, it's gone, and splice the wire together for ease of removal, that's fine. But for the most part, I mean, yeah, I don't really bother. I just take the pin out and just solder the wire right through the hole. So the thin wire is always the G2 wire, and the thick wire is always the focus wire. Do not worry about color. You know, my old Flyback had two white wires. This one has a white and a gray. Well, disregard the color. Thin wire goes to G2. Thick wire goes to focus. Now, why are you not going through there? Here, nothing is ever easy. You dirty, rotten bum, you. Let's try this again here. There, now is that so hard? Jeez. Okay. Solder that in. All right, so our preliminary testing shows that this should at least power on. HOT tests good, it's soldered back in. Light bulb test is good, so our power supply is functional. Got our Flyback installed. It's had a cap kit, so unless there's something wrong with that. So I'm wondering if it does work, are we gonna have color problems, which I think they had at some point, or will it work just fine, or will it even work at all? Who knows? Hopefully it does, that way I can just cap it and give it a reflow and we'll call it good and make a nice, quick, easy fix. But nothing ever works out that way, so we'll see. All right, and I'm not gonna bother, well, yeah, let's throw a, I don't want this wiggling back and forth, so let's throw a zip tie right here. Okay. Little strain relief. And there you go, one complete 7400 now. So let's grab a tube and fire this puppy up and make sure that we get, if it does work, we can check our B+, make sure it's 117, adjust as necessary, and see where we're at. So I'll set this aside. I'm gonna have to put that back on later. So okay, well, there you have it. We'll grab a tube, get it hooked up, cross our fingers, see what happens. Okay, so we're using a U5000 tube here. This is the tube I use for testing all these U2000s, U5000s, K7400s, sometimes K7000 if I have it handy. So it's a known good tube with the known good yoke, and everything's compatible with the 7400. And we have our critical 7 connected. We have our anode, neck, yoke, ground, power, video remote. Always count to 7. Let me rephrase. Anode, neck, yoke's hooked up, ground, video ground, DAG ground, remote board, our power, and our video. Always make sure at least you have those 7 things connected prior to ever powering up a chassis that you've had off and back on a tube. So that way you'll never forget to hook something up and cause damage. So always count to 7. Okay, I went through that kind of fast that first time, so I decided to go back and say it a bit slower. So we also have our B+ hooked up to read our B+, to make sure it's 117. Assuming it does turn on, I haven't turned it on yet. And we'll have our screwdriver here to be able to adjust it. And yeah, is it gonna work? And if it does work, what's it gonna look like? Let's cross our fingers. Here we go. Oh, hold on, I almost forgot. Let's make sure our flyback's actually turned up. Oh yeah, a little bit, because these ship from the factory almost always turn completely down. Brightness, contrast, we want to put about, let's say, halfway just for start. I almost forgot that. I could have led us down the wrong path here. Okay, all right, let's turn on volts DC, and we're looking for 117. If it does work, here we go. 1, 2, 3. Yes. Oh, and we are 120. It does work. Oh, I just started making a strange noise. And we're not getting anything yet. Brightness all the way up, contrast all the way up. Oh, brightness is all the way up, contrast is all the way up. Screen pot is all the way up. Oh yeah, so we aren't getting any video. Interesting. I wonder, let's go ahead and just set our B+ though. We're at 120, let's do 117. Just gonna adjust this pod a little bit. $117, it's touchy, 117.2, okay. So B+ is good, we have no video. Do we have neck glow? Yes, right there. So neck glow, good B+, chassis is functioning, no video. Well, it's not my board. If Yeah, we got the blinking LED activity light, so the board is running. No video. Let's turn, do we have anything at all? No, that's just the reflection from my window. Huh. Good B plus, it's operating, running. Don't see anything smoking. So that kind of lends credence to, you know, they changed out R811, they changed out the RGB decoder chip, and it could still be a neckboard problem. What happens if we turn up our colors here? That's not doing anything. There's still nothing. So we have no video generation. That's not electrical noises, that's just me moving this. Sounded like electrical noises there. Well, very interesting. Well, there's their problem. That's why they trashed this, I would say. There's no video. Well, there's these 3 caps here that aren't normally here. These are part of the video circuit. It doesn't hurt to have them. Some of these have, some early revisions have these 3 caps there, some don't. They don't hurt anything to be there, and they can also not be there. It won't hurt anything or change anything really. It just filters out the RGB, from at least from my experience. Well, it's still operating and running. B plus is nice and smooth. Well, I wonder what our video B plus is. Right here is video B plus, that little test point there. It should be, you know, 100 and, I think it's 156 volts, 150 volts, something like that. I wonder what that's reading here. Let's clip onto that. 185, that is too, that's, nope. That's, I think that's wrong. Something's not right there. But I gotta wonder if it's a neckboard problem. Let me swap out the neckboard with another known good one, see what that does for us, because it could be a neckboard issue. Well, it was not the neckboard, and I didn't even bother changing it out or trying a different one, because when I went to take this one off, all 3 of the heat sinks were ice cold. Resistors ice cold, heat sinks ice cold. These weren't even getting any power. The whole circuitry for the video generation was just not working. So this wasn't even getting any voltage to turn these transistors on. And going through the circuit, I found the problem. So there's a resistor that resides right here, R301. Let me zoom in and you can see right here. R301 is this guy right there, and it was nice and toasty. This guy right there. And if we measure it, it reads 8.64 kilo ohm. What's it supposed to read? 1.3. So I don't know if this is the direct cause of our problem, but it's certainly a part of the problem. I think it's possible the original Flyback arced or did something, and it took this out because it's on the video B plus circuitry. So let's put this back in here, a good replacement, and see if that gives us back our video, because that's about all I can come up with at the moment. I didn't do a lot of troubleshooting, but I just, when I noticed that neck board was ice cold, I'm like, well, now wait a minute. Let's go to that circuitry and follow it out and trace it out. And first thing that I noticed was this resistor all burned up. So yeah, let's replace this guy and see what we get on round 2. All right, successfully did this without lifting. Spoke too soon. Fell right out. So we'll try again here. There, stay there, you. Now, what could cause this to burn up? I don't know, but that's why when you have issues like this, that's why this test point is here. Your video B plus is not your power supply B plus. Your power supply B plus test point is right here. This is the B plus test point for your actual actual B+. TP20, that's TP202. TP203 is here. This is for your video B+ that's generated off the Flyback. This is the B+ from the power supply circuit. This is the B+ off of your Flyback. So assuming the original Flyback went out, which is why it was removed, and took out this resistor and they could never get it working again, I don't know. But with that now reinstalled, let's try again for take 2. Okay, original neck board's reinstalled. We're back on the tube and everything's set up again. And we have the meter set up to read on our TP203 B+ again. It was reading, what, 183 or something? It should be closer to 152. I was right. I had mentioned it should be somewhere around 150. I went and looked it up in the manual and it's supposed to be 152. Now there's different factors that come into play when that voltage reading is there. Like you can have, depends on your screen voltage setting and your brightness contrast and drive and everything. So it's not going to be exactly 152. It should be somewhere close to it. But if we're a little off, I'm not going to worry about it. So I'm betting that, though, with that resistor being so far out of tolerance, that will at least be closer to 152. And hopefully we get an image now. So that being said, my sync connector, the socket is bad. It comes out of the holder, so just notice that. Okay, we'll turn this on, and here we go. Fingers crossed. Take what? 2? Take 2? Yeah. 1, 2, 3. Okay, it comes right on, and we are at 163. It's better than 183. 166. Do we get an image this time? Yes! It's supposed to be 152.0. But like I say, different things affected, and we're getting a picture. Let me turn the screen voltage down. Yeah, it doesn't really affect it. Odd. But not going to worry about it. That resistor is not glowing hot. It doesn't appear to be in distress. Don't do what I'm about to do. I'm going to see if it's hot. No, it's not even hot. Nice and cold. So, we've got to do some serious adjustments here. Let me get the camera on the tripod. We'll make some adjustments and see how we can make this look, and kind of go from there. All right, kind of got a downward angle here because that under shelf light here really wreaks havoc on stuff. So, okay, first things first. Contrast all the way down, brightness all the way down, screen voltage up. We're not going to get raster lines. You don't really ever get raster lines on these series of chassis, so we'll turn this down to roughly about there. Then we'll turn up our brightness till the background is no longer black, which is there. Back down till it just goes black, which is right there. Turn contrast up a bit to roughly there. Let's adjust some focus. Glorious. Okay, now we need to acknowledge. Let's do vertical size. That works. H position. Little scratchy pot, but that's good. Okay, horizontal size. Oh, that's vertical position. Other side. Yep, that works. We'll put it there. Well, nothing left now but some color. The 7400 doesn't like my MK board, but that's okay. Let's do, this is not a chassis problem, this is a PCB issue, if you can even see what it's doing. You know, as a matter of fact, let's plug in, I'm hot swapping the board here, let's plug in UMK3. The MK board doesn't like to play well with pretty much anything other than a K7000. That's why I use the MK board as my test PCB on everything, because it only likes to really play with the K7000, and due to that, I can't really put it, you know, sell it or put it in a different machine or use it with other monitors. So that's why it's a test board. I use it for 7000s, and it's been so long since I've worked on anything other than a 7000, I forgot about that. So, okay, that being said, let's acknowledge this. And let's do H position. Actually, let's go into the menu here. And we'll do it this way. Ah, not bad. That's actually fairly good. H position to right there. Vertical. Yeah, that's good right there. Okay, now let's get some colors adjusted. Okay, let's escape out of here. Yeah, that's... where did my driver go? I gotta make water, Miss Daisy. I gotta make water. Okay, we are too red, so let's bring red down a bit. That's better. Woohoo! Okay. Green. Yeah. Okay, that looks pretty good right there. Nice. Okay, let's escape out, go back to the game, and see what it looks like. Dun 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 dun. We're still too red. Slightly. That looks pretty good. Oh yeah. Nice, look at that. Excellent. I only got 3 buttons here, so cut me some slack.
Round 2, fight.
Oh, you son of a... You cootie queen! Who are you calling a cootie queen, you licker? I can't do any fatalities because I don't have run. And I don't have, I can't do fatalities, I have no run, so... Yeah. All right, well, I think I'm going to go back to the menu to make it quiet, but I think I'm going to probably recap this and do a reflow and all my normal rework on this. But for the purposes of the video, it's fixed. I think all that was wrong with this was a few lifted pads, some broken pots on the neck board. Well, let's say I'll paraphrase, or I'll sum up here by saying the neck board was very bad. So complete neck board rework, a few lifted pads, and a missing flyback and that bad R301, I think it was. So not too much, but yeah, I'm surprised that this thing worked with, all that was really keeping this from working, other than the destroyed neck board, was that R301 being burned up. So yeah, I'm surprised the original owner of this didn't notice that or find it, or I'm not sure, but anyway, that's about it. So stay tuned, got lots more on the way. Glad this worked out relatively easy. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe. Comment down below what you thought of the video. and stay tuned for more.